Look at that thing.
Today we're going to show you how to prepare my favorite wild turkey dish, wild turkey sauce piquant. Little Cajun flair, and anybody can do it. We've had a lot of guys asking over the years to do the trophy room tour, and he was a difficult deer to pin down. We're hoping to catch up with his namesake this year. We just got back from a successful turkey trip to Wisconsin, and we're gonna get started making a sauce piquant today. Now, for those of you that don't know, I'm born and raised in South Louisiana. I started cooking when I was 10 years old, and that Cajun heritage is very important to me, and a sauce piquant is one of my most favorite ways to cook a lot of different meats. The classic way is with chicken. That's kind of how I grew up, a chicken sauce piquant. It's a great way to cook squirrel. You can do alligator, I mean, pretty much any meat you want. And it's, as I mentioned before, my favorite way to prepare wild turkey. Now, what is a sauce piquant? It is a red gravy, typically served over rice. You can, of course, serve it over other things like potatoes, but the classic Cajun way is served over rice. It is a tomato base, which gives you that red color. Flavor packed, it's just absolutely delicious. Typically pretty spicy dish, but you can adjust that to your liking. Step one is to get your meat trimmed up. Just get all the little feathers that might have got on there when you were cleaning, trim up the fat and all the silver skin. There's some tendons inside these. I always first remove my tenderloin. It's a little piece of meat that's closer to the breastbone. And we're gonna actually fry that later on. I'm not gonna put that in the sauce piquant. Now that we've got the meat all trimmed up, I'm gonna go ahead and cube it. In this case, when I'm doing a sauce piquant, I just wanna get bite-sized cubes so they cook through and through a little bit faster and they brown a little bit easier. Just aids in the overall timing of the whole process. Once we're done cubing it up, we're gonna get it seasoned. For seasoning, I recommend doing some salt, black pepper, cayenne pepper, and garlic powder. I like to use this mixed seasoning. It's already got all these things in there. It's called Slappy Mama. It's actually from the town I grew up in, Ville Platte, Louisiana. We just season liberally, all sides of the meat. Let's get it mixed in real good. Now that our meat is seasoned, we're ready to get started cooking. We're gonna go to the most important step in the whole thing, and that's browning your meat. Just put a little bit of oil in the bottom of the pot. And turn the fire to high heat and get your meat in there. Browning the meat is by far the most important part of this process, just getting good flavor in the gravy. This process takes like 30 to 40 minutes. You want that meat, it's first gonna turn a little white, then eventually gonna turn nice and brown. We want it to start sticking on the bottom. You wanna feel like, am I about to burn it? That's how I've explained this to friends when I'm teaching them how to do this. And you can deglaze periodically with a little bit of water or whatever liquid of choice. But this part is the most important part in getting good flavor in the gravy. While we're browning our meat, that's when we prepare all of our vegetables. So our onions, our bell peppers, garlic, mushrooms, whatever you want to put in the pot and brown along with your meat for your gravy, Now's a good time to get them chopped up. A key ingredient of all the Cajun dishes that I make is smoked pork sausage. And so this is actually stuff that I order from my hometown in Louisiana from a store called Teets. And this is pure pork sausage that's smoked and seasoned, and it adds great flavor to any dish. I just cut these again in like bite-sized pieces, about 1/2 inch to 1 inch. And this is already cooked since it's smoked, but we're gonna put it in the pot after the turkey is browned and continue to brown and cook that turkey while we're browning the sausage as well. Again, it just adds complexity to the flavor profile. Now we're gonna go ahead and get our vegetables chopped. For this recipe, at a minimum, I do 1 large onion and 1 large bell pepper. Got a special treat today. Ryan and I were out at the farm yesterday and found some golden oysters. So I normally use either baby bellas or whatever you might find at the grocery store, but when I get the opportunity to forage and pick some mushrooms, we try to do that. And yesterday we were able to pick up these beautiful young golden oyster mushrooms. Now if you're not a big mushroom lover, you certainly do not have to add mushrooms to this, but I personally love mushrooms, and so does most of the family. For these golden oysters, I just cut each little foot off and then we just chop them. These mushrooms grow on trees, and you can pick them most of the summer actually. And with all the dying ash trees out there, they're usually sprouting on the ash trees. Let's give the meat a quick stir. All that water comes out of the meat. Takes a little while. So as I'm chopping vegetables, of course, I'm paying attention to the pot, giving it a stir when it needs. If I need to add a little bit of water, I can, but I want it hot. I want to brown it hard. We're starting to get a really good color on this meat. And you can start to see it start to stick in some spots. That's good. Just keep stirring it. I'm gonna go ahead and add my sausage in now and start browning that. Turkey's pretty much ready to go. It's gonna continue to brown, of course, so. Gonna deglaze a little bit. How's that smelling, Rye?
I'm ready to eat, my guy. Just get breakfast.
So once I add my sausage in, I brown for another 10 minutes or so. Just get a good color on all the sausage, and then I'll add the vegetables in and brown those. So now we're ready to add our vegetables. At this stage, we add the onions, the bell peppers, the jalapenos, the mushrooms, but we save the green onion tops for the very end, so don't add those just yet. So it's been about 30 minutes, and we are wrapping up the browning process. All the vegetables are nice and wilted. Everything's got great color on it. So at this stage, I add water. And depending on what meat you're cooking, you braise it. So you would fill it up, the water just above the meat, and cover it, which I'll do. We'll braise this for a little while to tenderize it, but it doesn't need to be tenderized very long. So I add just enough water to come just to the level of the top of the meat. I'm gonna bring this to a boil, and then we'll turn the heat down and just let it simmer for 20 minutes or so. Time to cook the rice. Medium grain is the only way.
Not instant.
Never instant. You can cook it on the stove, of course, but rice cooker makes it a little bit easier. A good rule of thumb is about half a cup of rice per adult male. Yeah. We cook 2 or 3 cups for my family of 7, that kids, my wife, and myself, and then we cook a good cup of rice for old Rye.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
It's ridiculous. Ooh, it's starting to smell good. Boys about ready to eat?
You know it. What would you say if I told you Aiden couldn't pick out chubs in this room?
I would, yeah, maybe have a little tear. No.
What do you think, Aiden?
Good old chubs. Let's go see him. Let's go take a look at him. So which deer is it you've been curious about?
Well, this guy here with all the bra tines.
Yeah. Rye, what do you think about that deer?
I mean, I wish I had better footage of him. I can tell you that right off the bat.
What a crazy year. It was Rye's intern year. And he was a difficult deer to pin down, but
One of the things I remember that you said, like in the closing interview, like this is probably the hardest chase for a deer I ever had.
yeah, I agree, man. I mean, you figure that out as you go through it,
Yeah.
you know, but how much weight did you lose?
I was sitting about 260, which is like lower than I've been in a while.
You had lost we worked that year, and it's pretty crazy. As a 4-year-old, he was a nice 10 with split brows and very symmetrical. And then the very next year, he grew this pretty odd right side, which I'm not sure what happened to him. He never looked injured. You know, I got pictures of him. I think it was like May 16th or something. I looked at that picture the other day.
Yeah.
It was mid-May. Because of where we are now, I was like comparing some growth on some of the bucks I have now. And he was basically bases and brows. Like you could see all this stuff starting to split off. And I was like, what deer is that? Filmed him, I don't know, 4 or 5 times in velvet and 4 or 5 times on the hoof, and kept picking the wrong stand. After he got his butt beat by the 6x5, he shifted. We were seeing him on that side of the farm, and he wasn't over there anymore, and so we had to completely modify what we were doing. And honestly, we went there in the dark one morning in a hang hunt. I said, he's got to be crossing somewhere in this area, and we just went into the bushes and did a hang hunt in a shagbark hickory. And it was a mess.
Into the bushes, like we were crushing through multi-floor rows and all this stuff. We're like, there's no way we see.
Yeah, after we got set up, I was like, we've made so much noise. I don't think I could shoot anywhere. And like, he's basically we had a little 4-point come under us right at daylight.
Yeah.
And then here he comes on a doe. And I mean, the brush in there was 10 feet tall, 8 feet tall. I mean, we could just see his rack going through some different areas. Wow. And we hunted a couple times, and he turned, and I had to squeak an arrow through a pretty small hole, but we watched him fall over. We're hoping to catch up with his namesake this year.
I guess what about the one behind you? He's kind of got the similar crazy bra tines.
Yeah.
Is he on the same farm or a different one?
No, different farm, man. It's kind of interesting. He came from the same farm that I actually trapped this little bobcat on, but when I had my original property down there and the cabin, I had bought this 50-acre piece that was a half a mile down the road, and I never got rid of it just because it butted up against the big timber. It was the same year I got Bella and Anna and Kat all killed bucks at the home farm.
Oh yeah.
And it was like basically 3 out of 4 hunts over Christmas holiday. And then this was New Year's Day. We had a big storm hitting, and I was like, you know what, let's go hunt. I had 3 acres of standing corn. Like, let's just drive down there and go hunt and see what's coming out. And no pictures of this buck for 3 weeks. And if there was ever a night that he would come out, it was that night. Lots of points, obviously. Pretty cool brows.
Like,
Cool memory.
The epitome of a late season hope becomes the food buck right there.
Yeah.
I
I mean, no pictures of them, but they were all up on their feet and coming in.
well, I mean, we might as well finish with the deer in here in this little room. But
Yeah.
We can't tell everybody about all the deer yet. We got to keep them coming back.
Yeah.
We got 2 more on the wall over here. Aiden, do you know either of those 2 deer?
I do not.
All right.
So this is Big Mac. This is Bella's buck from the home farm.
300-pound deer.
5 years of history. I mean, how many times did we encounter that deer when we were hunting chubs?
A lot.
A lot. We had
Within
some
bow range too.
multi-hour encounters. I mean, and you and Bella, I mean, it was like some of the first hunts that Bella ever made by herself with you was Christmas break the year before trying to kill him. And one of the things we realized was that he was shedding early. And so he'd drop around Christmas or New Year's, and we'd end up not getting an opportunity at him late season. You know, then this year it was like, we got to kill him in youth season. You know, first sit for him. He came out, he was the first deer out, early afternoon.
Just like, I mean, we were in the blind. I had no pan of the plot on the camera
Yeah.
for the record. Like, it was early. And I got to ask you a question. Do you think you could drag a 300-pound deer?
Downhill, maybe.
Flat ground, flat ground.
Flat ground. No.
Bella gets
Bella moved him like 15 yards. I was like, what is going on?
Man, okay.
What, she was 12 or 11 or something. I don't know what she was, 12 years old. The whole blind was shaking.
Oh, we were all
Like, we had to like take a deep breath, you know, and she executed. She heart shot him and we watched him fall over, you know, so pretty awesome memory. Certainly a legendary home farm buck, for sure.
And then the newest addition.
Yeah, he just went up on the wall. Old Fitzmagic. The buck that was 3.5 years old for 4 years. Yeah, he in and of himself was a legendary buck on the river farm.
You think that's, I mean, I would argue that's probably one of the most filmed deer ever on the river farm when you think about it.
I would agree. I mean, the number of times we actually had him coming under the tree and he just wasn't on the hit list. I mean, late season hunts. You remember the year that we were hunting the Big 8 and I killed Marino. We were filming him and I kept saying, man, that deer's gonna be special. He just had that beautiful wrapping, you know, 10-point frame. And he stayed that way when we really dialed into the trail camera photos and were comparing. You know, he stayed that way for a few years. And then this year, he blew up into this 6x7. He actually broke off a few other kickers at his bases, but what a cool buck.
Interesting things about that deer for me is like when we were going to hunt Kelsey on the South Plot in 2022, he was with a doe in that little willow patch, and where'd he come out?
Yeah,
with that
same, exactly. Some of that historical information in the rut, like where he liked to be. That year, it was unique. We had such a good mass crop. The acorns were dropping, and it's like if you went where the acorns were, like the pinch had good acorns, and then that little upland bird plot was lined with red oaks, and the number of deer that were coming out and feeding on acorns and then coming into that green plot. And we're sitting in the tree, it's what, 3:30? I mean, we had a couple hours to go, and I could hear grunting, and he's who we went in there after. And all of a sudden, that doe came, we couldn't even see him coming, but she came under the tree.
Well, I literally started filming him next to the muddy stick.
Yeah.
At the base of the tree.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And I hit him pretty far back, but he was quartering away hard enough. We watched him fall over, and it's crazy. I honestly wasn't thinking it was going to come together that quick, especially after ending the chase for DK.
It's like that first hunt for him, and we saw him 3 times in one day. And
Right,
then
we
didn't see him on camera hardly for the next 7 or 8 days.
That's true, because we saw him at the pond set on the Little Peninsula, then we saw him at the South Plot.
Twice.
Golly. Yep, pretty cool memory. Just got him back from the taxidermist. Great buck. Yeah.
We should probably go check on our food. 'Cause
We should.
I'm really hungry, and there's more to see here, but wait for another day.
It's true. We've had a lot of guys asking over the years to do a trophy room segment, and we keep wanting to do it. And while the food's cooking, it's a great time to reminisce about some of these bucks. So as we do some of these cooking segments, we'll continue to do the trophy room tour. Aiden's got lots of questions.
Yeah. Go watch some shows, dude.
All right, let's see how we're looking. Yeah, this is looking great. So once you're happy with how tender the meat is and we're ready to make the gravy, the next step is to add in the tomato paste. I like the little can of tomato paste. This has some roasted garlic in it. This gives it that nice red color. There's nothing wrong with a brown gravy. I mean, if someone's shy about tomato paste, you could stop here and, you know, eat it like this. But I've cooked sauce piquant for a lot of folks that don't like tomatoes, and they love the way this flavor comes across. It's so rich. And you don't have to use tomato paste. I mean, there are people that like tomato sauce, the larger can of tomato sauce, or diced tomatoes, or anything like that. Just the way my family always cooks it, we do one little can of that tomato paste for a large pot, and you get that nice red color. You just gotta stir it in real well and just let it simmer for a little while longer. Another 5 minutes and we'll be done. All right, we are done. So at the very end, we go ahead and shut the fire off and we add in our green onion tops. Don't really want to cook these very long. So we shut that fire off, add them in, stir them in, and then we're ready to serve. That just gives you a little extra flavor. Some turkey, some sausage, and plenty of gravy. What do you think about that, Rye?
Can I have some?
This plate's for you, buddy. Bon appetit.
I cannot wait.
Starving.
I really am. Worth the wait.
Yeah, what you think? Is it any good? I love this stuff.
The turkey is so tender, man. Is there another wild turkey recipe that's gonna get the turkey this tender? Like that's, especially like a whole chunk, not pounding it down or anything.
Yeah, just cooking it. A little braising action. Well, hopefully you guys enjoy making this recipe. Eventually we're gonna have all these recipes up on the website so it's easy to find. If you guys have any questions at all, just drop it in the comments. We'll see you on the next one. Let them boys eat.
My mouth's full. Rupert, we talk right now.